Hi, I'm Bill Newcott in Toronto, Canada at the Toronto International Film Festival, and I'm here getting a sneak peek of the biggest movies of the fall and winter. And here's our preview on movies for the rest of us.
Hey, I'm looking for Fred Rogers.
In here.
It's a beautiful day.
Many of us still miss the late Fred Rogers, the warm, soothing host of the children's series Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. But we get the next best thing in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, in which Tom Hanks proves he was born to play the part.
My neighbor.
At a Toronto press conference, I asked Tom if it was difficult to master Mr. Rogers' iconic opening routine. The choreography in the beginning of the film, you come through the door, you're singing the song, you're doing the zipper, you're getting the shoes tied, all in one take. Fred Rogers had 1,000 takes to get that right. How long did it take you to...
Okay, boss, take it away.
22.
And you think you have a lot of time in that song? You try to come in, take a jacket off, hang it up, close the door, take one pair of shoes on, put a pair of shoes on, at the same time, 22 takes, baby.
Wow.
Can I make a confession that I've never told you to?
Please.
When we finished those 22 takes, I realized I made it harder for you than it ever was for Fred.
In what way?
He had the first knot of the shoes done, and we had you do that and the two and I didn't realize it until after.
This movie was a living hell.
My neighbor.
That was wonderful.
Mr. Blanc, I just buried my father who committed suicide. Why are you here?
I suspect foul play.
Knives Out is a perfect old-fashioned murder mystery. It features a classic all-star house full of prime suspects, played by the likes of Jamie Lee Curtis, Toni Collette, Michael Shannon, and Don Johnson. And grilling them all is an eccentric private eye, played by 007 star Daniel Craig, who trades his suave British accent for a lazy New Orleans drawl.
There is one guilty party behind it all.
Best of all is the legendary Christopher Plummer as the victim, who also has more to do with his own murder than you might think.
I think you have something you want to tell me.
One small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Everyone in Toronto was buzzing about Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix as everybody's favorite Batman villain. But although Phoenix is brilliant in the role, infusing the young, troubled Joker with a sympathetic persona, director Todd Phillips' movie is surprisingly lifeless. It's a film without heroes, only victims and heels. When the only guy to root for in a movie is a psychopathic murderer, well, it's hard to come out of the theater feeling good about yourself.
There's not much time. You got to be miles away from here before dawn. Where is she? Follow that North Star.
Sprawling, inspiring, and downright enthralling, Harriet explodes with the story of Harriet Tubman, the escaped slave who courageously kept returning to the South to usher fellow slaves to freedom.
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
God don't mean people to own people.
Director Cassie Lemons proves herself to be a visionary filmmaker, and as Tubman, Cynthia Erivo is a diminutive dynamo, arriving here as a legitimate big-screen powerhouse.
Ready?
And that's it, folks. Ferrari wins the 24 Hours of Le Mans for the 5th consecutive year.
Mr. Ford, Ferrari has a message for you, sir.
What did he say?
He said Ford makes ugly little cars in ugly factories. And, he called you fat, sir. We're gonna bury Ferrari at Le Mans.
Ford v. Ferrari has a lot in common with the Fast and Furious films, except it's got brains and a traffic jam of high-octane performances from the likes of Matt Damon, Christian Bale, Josh Lucas, and Tracy Letts. The story of Ford Motor Company's 1967 attempt to defeat Ferrari at Le Mans does involve a blur of screeching wheels and spinning automobiles, but Damon and Bale have engaging, roughhousing chemistry as the car designer and his favorite driver.
Come here!
You ready?
I was born ready, Mr. Shelby.
And Let's is fun as the rotund Henry Ford II, especially when he gets taken for a spin in Ford's new sports car and is reduced to blubbering tears of joy and terror.
So it begins.
I've got nothing but good things to say about The Aeronauts, a spectacular adventure film starring Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones as pioneering 19th century balloon adventurers. Redmayne and Jones charmed us all in The Theory of Everything, and their welcome reunion reminds us that they are one of the screen's most delightful couples. The film's action sequences are breathtaking, but be warned, if you're afraid of heights, you might want to opt out for a more ground-based movie.
Dolomite is my name! Hey, you know, Auntie, I was thinking about putting out a comedy record.
Comedy? You been a singer, a shake dancer?
It's real hard to break in. I do whatever it takes to get in. I come up with a new character. Dolomite is my name!
You know, after too many years of churning out lame family comedies, I think we've all forgotten that Eddie Murphy is a certified comic genius. But he reclaims the title in Dolomite is My Name, the true story of 1970s B-movie star Rudy Ray Moore.
You've got a product here that you can't sell or promote.
All my life, people have been telling me no.
Yes, the Murphy we get here is even more obscene, scatological, and crass than he was in his days as a stand-up comic. But that's just one facet of the movie's character, the man whose on-screen vulgarity masked a hopelessly optimistic, endlessly sweet-natured personality that inspired the loyalty of even Hollywood's most cynical high rollers.
I'm so grateful for what you did for me, because I never seen nobody that looks like me up there on that big screen.
Murphy strikes a perfect balance and gives a career-defining performance.
Cut! Was it good as Shaft?
The first time I visited death row, I wasn't expecting to meet somebody the same age as me. From a neighborhood just like ours. Could have been me, Mama.
But what you're doing is gonna make a lot of people upset.
There's blood, sweat, and tears evident in every frame of Just Mercy, a powerful screen version of civil rights lawyer Bryan Stevenson's scathing indictment of America's legal system. Michael B. Jordan plays Stevenson, who for more than 30 years has toiled to rescue wrongly accused or unfairly sentenced death row inmates, the overwhelming majority of whom are African Americans. The movie focuses on Stevenson's first cases, 3 condemned men, played by Jamie Foxx, O'Shea Jackson Jr., and Rob Morgan, all of whom deserve Best Supporting Actor nominations. At a Toronto press conference, I asked Stevenson about progress against racism in the past 3 decades, and frankly, I was hoping for a more positive answer. How have things changed in Alabama, or have things changed in Alabama since the setting of this story?
They haven't changed as much. I mean, we've had some success, obviously. We've now gotten 140 people off of death row after being wrongly convicted and unfairly sentenced. And when Jamie asked the question at the beginning of the film, how many people have been released from death row, and he answers it by saying none, that was true. And while we've had that impact, we still are working with a system that is very resistant to fairness. And what makes me excited is that we're fighting, and now we're fighting with tools that we never imagined were possible. Incredibly talented people, Warner Brothers, this industry contributing in a major way. And people will see this film who are reluctant, but hopefully will come out inspired to do more. So we're still in the middle. This is a very challenging political moment, not only in the United States, but across the world. There's a lot of othering going on. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of fear and anger. And the politics of fear and anger will make you tolerate things you're not supposed to tolerate. But there's also a response, and I'm thrilled that this is part of that response.
We all need grace. We all need mercy.